Hey everybody, so today we're going to talk about should you go to university and how to decide on a topic. We're going to bring in perspectives from Gary Vee, Mark Zuckerberg and loads more and talk about their perspectives and what we think on them. So let's jump into it.
So if somebody actually thinks they're an entrepreneur at 15, 16 and has proved it, she sells blow pops or she has a website on Shopify. If you are truly an entrepreneur and you are going to take debt to go to college, I will punch you in the face and try to stop you. I couldn't believe in it less. If you want to work in this building at Boston Consulting, you better go to something solid undergrad and you better go Ivy League business school because you want to work at Boston Consulting, McKinsey, or Bain, as you mentioned it early. I think you have to figure out what you want in life and work backwards.
So Gary definitely makes some valid points in what he's talking about. You've got the young entrepreneur who's already making a success of his business. That does he really need to go to university? And then you've got the other side in terms of the people that already know exactly what they want to do in the future. And it's predicated by, you need to go to uni to be able to get that job. Like it could be doctors, it could be law, it could be anything like that. So that those people, they're pretty much switched on the fact that they do need to go to university to achieve those goals. The only thing I'd question about with those people in terms of that is you really need to think about like why you want to do that. Because I know tons of people in that situation, as do loads of other people in terms of that. They're so fixed on, this is what I'm going to do. And they get 6 months, a year, 18 months into that degree and they absolutely hate it. It's not what they want to do. It wasn't what they thought it was. The biggest thing to look at when you do that is to actually ask yourself why you want to do something. And that because when you pick a degree, that's a what rather than a why. That's what you're going to do. And that, but if you understand your why, that's actually more connected to like, your values and who you are and what your makeup is and what makes you happy. And that, so if you look at that first, then you'll really like get a grasp in terms of like where you want to go and what you want to do. So there's a great guy, absolutely phenomenal speaker and a great author, a guy called SINEK'S, and he talks about this brilliantly. And that, so we're going to play a clip for you in a second with Simon talking. Now, it's very hard to play anything with Simon because anytime he talks for sort of half an hour plus. It's all absolutely great information. So we've done our best with this clip. So we'll play it now and see what you think.
I made this discovery that every single organization on the planet, even our own careers, always function on the same 3 levels. What we do, how we do it, and why we do it. And it was based on the biology of human decision making. It wasn't some highfalutin management theory. It was based on brain stuff. And I realized I knew what I did and was good at it. And I knew how I did it. I could tell you what was different or special about the way I did things. But I couldn't tell you why I was doing it. That was the missing piece. You have to have all 3. I became obsessed with this thing called the why. I figured out how to find my why, and it restored my passion to levels I had never experienced before. And more importantly, I figured out how to help others find theirs. And I did what anyone would do. When you discover something beautiful, you share it with your friends.
Passion is not an actionable word. It's correct, that those who do the things that they're passionate about do better, but it's not helpful advice. And so the question is, where does passion come from? Passion is a result. Passion is an energy. Passion is the feeling you have when you're engaged in something that you love. Passion is the feeling you have that you would probably do this for free, and you can't believe somebody pays you to do it, And I think we mistake that passion is something we do in our private lives, but it shouldn't be done in our careers, for example. And I'm a firm believer that you are who you are. And anybody who says, I'm different at home than I am at work, in one of those 2 places, you're lying. And the goal is to make everything you do in home and at work something that you have excitement to do. So how do you find the things that you're excited to do? Well, it's actually easier than you think. What are the things that you love to do? What are the things that you would do for free? How can you recreate that feeling and be paid for it? So what are the things that I do on the weekend, right? I love, I'm very involved in the art world. I love to go to museums and galleries, but I love to go see dance and performances because I want to see how others are interpreting the world. So that inspires me. New ideas, new thoughts, new ways of looking at the world are things that interest me privately, and I seek it out and pay money for it, right? So does that mean I have to have a career in the arts? No, it means I have to have a career where new ideas are explored, where people are experimenting and trying things out, and I have to explore new ideas and try things out, and I'm just as excited to go to work every day as I am to, go do something on a Saturday night. And so the idea of finding your passion is ironically simple because you should be doing stuff that you enjoy sometimes. What is the stuff that you enjoy, and then what is the stuff that you love? Who are the people that you love, and what do they all have in common?
The really great thing with Simon is that he falls into the category that we're talking about today. So Simon picked a degree. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to do law. He got halfway through it and it definitely wasn't for him. He moaned about it all the time to a friend, and a friend said to him, look, Simon, you moan about this a lot. You're obviously not passionate about this. It's obviously not what you're about. His friend in terms of said to him that, look, I'm in marketing. I think you'd be a great fit for it. So initially he jumps into it, loves it. He eventually grows his own business. That's it. Unbelievable financial success. At that point, he sort of realizes that he's still unhappy with it all. And so he's a great person to actually, he's been through all these struggles that we're thinking about in terms of what I want to do. And all of his research is based around that. So he's got some great information. We'll put his books, we'll put some of the links to some of his great videos down below. Definitely go and check him out because he's really good at what he does. So one of the main reasons for bringing Simon up is that I think whenever you're trying to search what subject you want to do, whether you want to go to uni, what career path you want to do, you need a starting point. And I think what Simon does perfectly is give you that starting point, because he is focused on the why of what we are, and that the why is all focused around you, and no one's a better authority on you than yourself. And so what he's suggesting in terms of is that you look at yourself, but you go and talk to your friends, your family, in terms of what they see in you, and not just surface level stuff in terms of that, you're really funny, you're so smart. It's actually core value stuff, you inspire me because of this, or it's really about who you are. So if you look at that and do that as your first piece of investigation, that's got to be the easiest place to start and to get you going, because those conversations will spark something and maybe get you to understand yourself better than you really think you do. So once you've done that, and you've got that sort of starting point in terms of now you can actually start to really look off into different zones in terms of maybe I'd be good at this and maybe I'd be good at that. And this is something that Mark Zuckerberg talks a lot about in terms of his advice on whether you should go to university or not. Zuckerberg's sort of making the point in terms of that we've got infinite amounts of resource, an infinite amount of free resource, and that. So basically you should do your exploring now, and that to give yourself the best head start. So let's jump into his video.
I think having the flexibility to explore a lot of different things, which you can do when you're in college, which is one of the amazing things about being in college, is you can work on all these hobbies and code a lot of stuff and try a lot of different things. It's this amazing flexibility that I think most people take for granted. And once you decide, okay, I'm going to start a company and I'm going to do it with someone else, you immediately now need to convince someone else if you want to change your mind on something. And I think people really undervalue the option value and flexibility. I think explore what you want to do before committing is really the key thing, and keep yourself flexible. And no, I think that's.
I agree.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg hits the nail on the head with me at this one. You've got infinite amount of resources out there. We've just given you a tip in terms of how to refine that slightly and get you started. And now you need to widen that back up again in terms of what are the things that potentially suit you. And we're not saying in terms of that 100% it's going to be the right answer. It's definitely going to put you in the right vicinity. And if you don't do your homework, the only person you're hurting is you. There's a great quote in terms of the only person that looks after future you is you right now. So do that research and get yourself going. Another thing I wanted to talk about in terms of is people that essentially won't do this homework, in terms of that will just go, do you know what, I just got a really good grade in geography, I'm going to carry on and do that at university. And if you were to ask that person in terms of, well, do you see any future coming out of geography or history or whatever the topic is, but the fact of the matter is it's more of a generic topic. And if you said to him in terms of, well, are you going to do something with that in a future career? Oh no, I don't see it as a future career, but I'm really talented at it. I know I'll get a good grade at it. There's one pro to doing that, in my opinion, and that is that you think you're going to get a good grade at it. You're going to get a 2-1. You're going to get a first. You're jumping ahead of other people in terms of on the ladder. In that perspective, that when you're looking at getting a job in the future, recruiters are looking at you thinking, oh, they've done well, we'll get them in. But if you actually look at the stats, this year alone, it was around 75% plus people in terms of got a first or a 2-1. So you're still in a massive stack by doing that. And you haven't really done anything to help yourself out for the future. You haven't probed any ideas in terms of what you actually want to do. So my advice with stuff like that is actually to pick a degree that has got a lot more broader subjects in it. So if you look at something like business, it's got accounting, marketing, law. It's got tons of modules in it that actually are career paths in the future. But at the minute, in terms of, I don't think it's worth concerning yourself too much with that. What it's doing in terms of is that you may hit one of those modules and go, do you know what? Marketing is absolutely for me. In terms of there's loads of modules in this business course in terms of that aren't for me. And all of a sudden you can be 6 months into uni, you could be 18 months into uni in terms of actually thinking in terms of that, do you know what? No, I really want to pursue that. And all of a sudden you put yourself in this moment in terms of where you can now go and talk to the university and say, look, I really know in terms of that business isn't for me, and that, but I'm really passionate about the marketing module. It's the only way I can switch over onto that. I think if you do something like that in terms of if you start with your why, you start to broaden out and widen your search in terms of the subjects that you think are actually suited to you, and that, but you're still not quite sure. I would go with, again, keeping it wide, and I would go with a subject in terms of it's still got loads of modules in it that is going to probe questions on you all through that first year, second year, whenever it is, in terms of you have that eureka moment where you feel like, no, this is what strikes a chord with me, and this is what I feel passionate about. I'm going to play a video now in terms of really goes into a little bit more depth around this and gives a real life example of someone in terms of has picked a more generic degree and is now struggling with it. So give this a listen.
So I changed my major a bunch of times, and somehow I landed on history. So I ended up graduating the junior college with an associate's in history and an associate's in behavioral and social sciences. So I moved to a university actually right down the street from my house, and now I'm going to school for a bachelor's degree in history. I don't know what I want to do after, and I'm a little worried because I know people get jobs in a degree that people get a job with a degree that they had nothing to do with. And so in high school, my mom actually took me to FPU, and it was a really good experience. I was very, very thankful for it. And so today I'm actually on baby steps 4, 5, and 6, and I'm just wondering, like, what my next move is. I feel kind of worried because I don't know. I feel like I'm not doing the right thing right now. I feel like maybe there's something better out there for me. But I talked to a couple people that I know.
How old are you?
I'm 21, actually.
Okay. And when would you finish your history degree?
So this is about a year and a half. But here's the thing. So no exaggeration here, but there's times in school where I would read at least 80 pages a day. And honestly, I don't remember anything that I read. And I feel like I could have used that time to learn more about. So for your Black Friday sale, I actually bought a bunch of your guys' books. And I feel like I could have used that time to, like, read and learn more about stuff that I'm interested in, like investing and compound interest and all that stuff. And I feel like going to school is just kind of killing my time. I know it's only 3 semesters left, but I don't know if I'm feeling impatient or not, and then, so.
Well, it's hard to be excited about the trip when you don't know what the destination is.
Mm-hmm.
If I say we're going to Florida to the beach, you can decide if you want to be excited or not. If I say we're going to the Rockies to go skiing, you can decide if you want to be excited or not. If I say we're going fishing, you can decide if you want to be excited or not. You don't know where the crud you're going. There's no way to be excited. You feel like a rat in a wheel because you're a rat in a wheel.
So one of the things I wanted to get across with that video is how quickly time flies. That if you don't do some basic research at the beginning, you've just seen how that basically snowballs into a bigger problem further down the line. If you speak to people in your circle, people that you trust, people that are your friends and your family, if you do your research and keep talking to people about it, you'll come to the point where you'll form a gut decision. You'll know the direction you want to go in. Your gut instinct is based on everything that you've consumed to date. So it's all your knowledge, all your research, all your life experiences that have come together. And when you follow your gut instinct, that sort of 0.1 of a second decision is actually you using all of the knowledge that you consumed to date to make that decision. And no one ever regrets their gut decisions. The only decisions we all regret in life is that we didn't follow our gut. That's the ones we always talk about. Because decisions based on your gut are based on the best knowledge you had at the time. And if things pivot in the future, you won't care because it was the best information you had at the time. If it changes in the future, it'll be exactly the same thing. It'll be, this is the best information that I have now, and actually I want to go in this direction. So going back to the example where I was talking about like doing business that actually potentially might spark a different direction for you, you won't regret that because you gave yourself the opportunity and it spawned you off into a different direction. So do your homework and then follow your gut decision and stick to it. I'm going to play a video now of Bradley Cooper talking about exactly that thing and following your gut.
The question is about the very memorable moment inside the actor's studio where Bradley is shown asking Robert De Niro a question. And the question is kind of what shifted in his education and his career that basically got him to this point.
It's always those little moments you look for of inspiration or confirmation that you're on the right path. And that was one of them. It's interesting that you cited it as being something like that because, yeah, it's true. I wanted desperately to ask a question. I was terrified. And I wanted to ask this specific random question about awakenings. And right before it came to because you have to say before that you want to, and they pass you the mic. So I thought, oh, this is going to be a stupid question, and he's going to say, why would you ask that stupid question? and so I thought, I'll just ask some bullshit question about the mission and riding a horse. And then somebody went up and asked a question about the mission right before my question. I thought, oh no. And the next thing I know, it's my turn. I'm standing up and I'm looking at my idol across, 40, 30 feet away. And then I just asked the question that I wanted to about awakenings. And he said, good question. And it like blew me away. And I thought, it was just a little reminder of like, just go with your gut. There's a reason why you think the way you do and want to do the things you do, and you just can't let anybody tell you don't do it. But especially you. Don't allow you to tell you not to do it. The loudest voice that's a contrarian is usually me. And all these little moments of confirmation that voice should just shut up allows you to just do what you're supposed to do while you're here.
So one of the things that we want to do with these videos is that we want to pass on the knowledge that we've learned in terms of that there's so much business and entrepreneurial wisdom out there, podcasts, you name it, in terms of, but it's all tailored around entrepreneurship. There's so many lessons within that we feel in terms of that actually are super beneficial for the masses. So like what we want to do is try and help the 99% rather than 1%. And that. So hopefully in terms of what we've done today has helped with that. We'd love it if you comment below in terms of some other points that you want to make and help the community that we want to build. And also in terms of if you've got any ideas for future videos, we'd love to hear them and that so that we can get working on those. So we want to make a lot more of these types of videos and hopefully they'll help you and will help grow the community and help other people. So I hope you've loved this video. We've loved making it for you. We want to make plenty more. If you haven't already, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey everybody. Nope.
I like that.
And to end this video, the best way I thought we'd get this across is listen to Bradley Cooper? Is to listen to Bradley Cooper. If there's any topics you want us to cover in the future, please write in the what is it called?
Comment?
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Woohoo! What's your tagline? Go, cheesy tagline.
No.